Okay, right? So this is physical method for sterilization in which heat is used as a mode of sterilization. Okay. Now when you are going to use the heat as a mode of sterilization, when your article is not sensitive to the heat, right? It is resistant to the heat, it is not affected by the heat, then you can go for heat sterilization. Okay. Now heat inactivates the microorganisms by different mechanisms, right? Heat, when you are going to use heat, then it gives you this mechanism. કઈ mechanism થી kill કરશે? તો first mechanism of killing by heat is oxidation of cellular component. કઈ છે? Oxidation of cellular component. And the second mechanism is denaturation and coagulation of the protein. Okay, so you have to remember this mechanism in the heat. Okay, so mainly denaturation this is common for any type of heat, whether it is dry heat or moist heat, right? But most probably when you are having moist heat, then they leads to the coagulation. Coagulation ક્યારે થાય? When there is a moist heat. And when there is dry heat, then it leads to the maximum denaturation and oxidation of the cellular content. Okay, so remember this. Okay, તમારો questions કઈ રીતનો છે? Based on that you can write the mechanism, right? Now go for the two part in the heat sterilization. One is dry heat and second is moist heat, right? So in the dry heat, the instrument used is hot air oven. We all are aware about hot air oven, right? So now the principle of hot air oven is the killing effect of heat in the microorganisms is because of this mechanism. This is a specific mechanism for hot air oven. આ કોની mechanism છે? It is a specific mechanism for hot air oven. Okay, मतलब it leads to the oxidation of cell content, protein denaturation, and the third mechanism, which is additional one, is toxicity caused due to high electrolyte content. શું થાય? Because of the electrolyte content of some of the ingredient in your preparation may lead to the toxicity in presence of heat. Okay, now see the structure of hot air oven, right? So this is the main equipment in which there is a, see this black color, it is called as asbestos gasket, right? This black color boundary of the oven as well as this door, right? It is called as asbestos gasket. What is the role of this asbestos gasket? It will give you complete airtight packing of your hot air oven. मतलब when you close the door, it doesn't allow heat to come out. Okay, so this is the role of gasket. પછી there is presence of fans for circulation of heated air. See at the back side, this back side, okay, there is a inbuilt fan is available. So when the heat is produced by the heater, then it circulate. When the fan starts, then heat is circulated. Okay, but see this three perforated, the plate or shelf, this is called as shelf, on which you are going to keep your things for sterilization or drying. Okay, so this shelf is perforated. Why it is perforated? So for easy distribution of the air, right? So your air can be easily distributed throughout each shelf. Okay, and this is the one more thing is temperature regulator. The role of this temperature regulator means when you set the temperature in this digital analyzer, okay, when you have to operate your hot air oven at 180 degrees centigrade, right? Then this will regulate the temperature. If the temperature goes above 180, then it automatically stops, right? And if the below 180, then it automatically starts. So this is the temperature regulator and this is temperature analyzer. In our lab we have here screen, we have the screen on the top, right? So here they have put this digital analyzer. Okay, and on the top side, from the outside, your hot air oven looks like a metal case, right? Metal case, right? And inside this metal case, the heaters are located on the walls. Heater क्या हुए हैं अंदर? They are located in the periphery. फरता फरता गोल गोल heaters लागेला छे. Okay, so this is the આવી રીતનું structure બનાવવાનું રહેશે when there is a question of dry heat sterilization. Okay, now very important requirement for the hot air oven is each and every substance or article should receive equal exposure of the heat, right? એવું ના થાય કે when the heater is near they got maximum heat, when the heater is far away then they receive less heat, okay? Otherwise they not leads to the complete sterilization, okay? Now second important requirement for the design is the sterilization temperature. If you set 180 degrees temperature, then it should achieve quickly, very important. You cannot wait for 1 hour to achieve the temperature, okay? So the temperature achieving should be quickly, and very important second is it should be with little variation. You can see in our lab, if we set 180 only 80 degree, then it will cross 100 degree, right? Matlab there is a high variation in the temperature, right? But ideal hot air oven should not have more than 2 degree variation, okay? Now this is all we have discussed: stainless steel chamber, asbestos gasket, heaters on the side walls, okay? Heat is transferred to the material by conduction and convection. What is the mode of heat transfer in the hot air oven? You can say it's conduction and convection, okay? And the second, perforated shelf, we have seen they help for efficient circulation of the hot air. And temperature probes, where they are placed, the temperature probes are kept inside the chamber. So what they will do, so they will attain the temperature and it will analyze the temperature. Depending upon that, they will turn off and turn on, okay? Now the oven is fitted with the fan, પાછળની side જે આપણે કરી નાખ્યું, okay? Now the operation. Now operation matlab working, okay? Now article to be sterilized means, suppose if you want to sterilize pipettes or if you want to sterilize petri plates, okay? So they are called as articles. So the article to be sterilized are wrapped with suitable material, right? Like what we are going to do in the wrapping, we are going to wrap the petri plate with the papers, newspapers or simple white papers, એને પેલા wrapping કરી દેવાનું, right? And it should be enclosed in the containers like tubes, containers, any type of containers, right? And again, why we have to wrap with the papers? To have the sufficient strength and also to protect against contamination, right? So after sterilization, we have to transfer that packed material with the paper into the sterile area, and in the sterile area we have to remove that paper and we have to use that petri plate, right? So that we can minimize the contamination, okay? Otherwise what happens, if you are not going to wrap it paper and when you collect it from the oven, then you have not sterilized your hand, right? So directly your equipment or articles become non-sterile, right? That's why you have to wrap it with some material. Now for obtaining good results, oven should be properly loaded with article which receive maximum heat, right? Loading should not be too much high, very important. Loading કેટલું રાખવાનું? It should be like this, each and every article should receive equal heat, okay? Each and every article receive equal heat, okay? Vent should be closed and the door can be shut, right? Vent is available on the top. See, this is a vent, this is air vent, okay? You have to keep this air vent closed, okay? What is the role of this air vent? When you complete your cycle, then you open this door, otherwise open this air vent, so it will gradually reduce the temperature, okay? What it will do? It will gradually reduce the temperature, okay? So when you start the working, then you have to close your vent, door should be shut and fan should be switch on, okay? And this is the basic 3 requirements. Now temperature variation should not exceed 5 degree, right? So it is, you have to keep in mind that temperature variation should not be more than 5 degree, okay? The chamber temperature should allow 40 degree before removal of sterilized article. Matlab su, if you have set temperature of 180 degree centigrade, okay, then after completion you should allow the decrease of the 40 degree temperature. You cannot directly open it, right? You cannot, suppose if you have run for 2 hours 180 degree, okay, you cannot directly open it. શું કરવાનું? open the vent ઉપરથી ખોલી નાખો and allow the reduction in the temperature કેટલું 40 degree. Suppose you have set 180 degree, then allow it to come up to 140 degree and then open the door, otherwise it leads to the blast, okay, because of the sudden temperature change. Okay, now different temperature time relationship for holding time, this is very important, you have to remember this. Okay, this is very very important relationship. Okay, depending upon your time limit you have to select temperature. Suppose તમારી પાસે 60 મિનિટ જ છે, then go for 170 degree for 60 minutes. Suppose your product is sufficiently sensitive to temperature, okay, then you can go for this 140 degree 180 minutes, otherwise 121 degree overnight, right? So you have to be clear about selection of time and temperature relationship. Okay, now what are the precautions we have to take is hot oven should not be opened until there is a reduction in temperature either 40 or 60 degree, right? Otherwise what will happen, the glasswares and then they leads to the breakage of glasswares takes place. Okay, now advantage of the hot air oven is it is suitable for the materials which are damaged by moisture. જે મેં તમને initially discussed કે oils and powders, initially in 1 or 2 lectures we have differentiated hot air oven and autoclave. In that case this will ask in the comment कि oils and powders can be sterilized by hot air oven. So your answer should be yes. Why? Because oils undergo rancidification and powders undergo sticky or wet in case of moist heat. That's why we are going to select dry heat. Okay, and it is useful for the assemble equipments, right, for sufficient heat penetration. And glass, metals, they all are sterilized with this. And very important is it does not leave any type of chemical residue. We are not going to use any of the chemicals, so there is no chemical residue is there. Okay, and it also eliminate wet pack. Wet pack matlab amuk jagya evi rahi jay, there is no reaching of the material or a heat, right? So it is called as wet pack, and you can see this type in case of humid climate. So because of the high temperature it eliminates wet pack. Okay, now disadvantage, it provides drastic conditions, high temperature, long exposure, so the rubbers, plastics cannot be sterilized. Very important, right? આ કમેન્ટમાં આવશે કે rubber and plastic cannot be sterilized by hot air oven. So yes or no? So then you have to justify. Second, preparation of water, preparation containing water, alcohol, volatile liquids cannot be sterilized. Suppose you have prepared a syrup, okay, and you are going to sterilize it in the hot air oven syrup ne. So syrup contains more amount of water also, right? So water starts to evaporate and only at 150 degree. Okay, so it only remains solid materials, so it will degrade. That's why જે બી 100 degree up boil થવા લાગે છે એ વસ્તુને આમાં સ્ટરીલાઇઝ કરવાની નથી. It is not suitable for surgical dressing. Remember this, આ પણ આવે છે in case of comment. Surgical dressing ખબર પડે? What is surgical dressing? What is surgical dressing? So it is bandage, cotton, right, gauze, જે આપણે ડ્રેસિંગ કરવામાં યુઝ કરીએ, all the things are called as surgical dressings, right? So we cannot sterilize all this by hot air oven. Chem, because they have as a natural moisture vapors and lead to deterioration. matlab they leads to the loss of complete moisture from the dressing materials, and this material become brittle. Okay, and they become brittle, they lost its texture. It takes longer time as compared to autoclave, right? Time is more. And last in the hot air oven is application. કઈ કઈ વસ્તુ માટે યુઝ થાય. ઓકે, સો ગ્લાસવેર્સ, all glasswares can be sterilized, right? Beaker, pipette, petrol plate, all this. Equipment, all the equipments, motor vessel, surgical instrument matlab scissor, forceps, they all called as surgical instrument. Okay, પછી tubes and all this. પછી oils, very important. See the example, fixed oil, paraffin, wool fat, all are oils which can be sterilized by hot air oven only. And lastly, powder